Good day, everyone. Welcome. Hope this finds you well as always. And my name is Keith. This is what really matters. And I want to talk a little bit today to you guys about cannabis and how it has the power to empower you if you don't depend on it, right? If you're not using it from a state of dependency, codependency, right? There was a time um, in the not so very distant past where I was in a relationship and it got to the point for both of us in life where it was extremely tough on us both. Of course, we put ourselves in that situation, but we didn't have the wherewithal to see that, or we didn't want to see it. We didn't want to look at it, and so we turned to cannabis. We hadn't used it before. I think we both had smoked here or there with friends in the past, but it wasn't something that we both habitually used on our own. And we decided that this was a good way to maybe deal with the stress and anxieties of the life that we were living at the moment. It actually started out with us using CBD flower first, but that then changed to cannabis, marijuana, THC. And so we used it as a way to depend on it. We depended on it to make us feel better to the point where we were smoking every day, but not just every day. We'd have a smoke session, and then we'd wait maybe 30 minutes and we'd smoke again. Sometimes we wouldn't even wait 30 minutes. We'd light up again right after we smoked the first blunt, joint, whatever, bong rip, whatever, insert whatever way you want to use whatever way you can use cannabis, we probably used it. And we were just constantly smoking, constantly trying to hide from the emotions and the feelings that we were feeling in our lives, using it as a band-aid. And we use it so much this way, in a negative way, that our tolerance got so high because we smoked so much of it that it got so high to the point where we needed to smoke multiple times to even get a resemblance of that high feeling that once gave us reprieve from the negative feelings that we were feeling in our life, the feelings that we were running away from, the feelings and the things about us that we didn't want to look at. We were using cannabis as a cover up. We were using cannabis in a detrimental way. And if you know anything about cannabis, when you use cannabis, it reflects back to you your inner states, your inner ways of being that you're constantly functioning at the moment. It's like, where are you in your head? Where are you in your head? Where is your headspace at? Where are you at inside of yourself? Because if you're going to use cannabis, it's just going to be like a mirror, and it's going to amplify those feelings of how you really feel. It might not right away, right? At first, it might actually give you it might give you a break from those feelings and make you feel a little better. It'll numb it up for a little, it'll numb those feelings up for a while, but the more you use it, the more you abuse it, the more it'll show back to you in ways where you're not healing yourself, and you're using cannabis as this band-aid, as this crutch, if you will. And it can become a very negative loop if you allow it. And we allowed it so much that, the relationship then deteriorated between us two in the process. Cannabis wasn't the sole reason why. Obviously, it was reasons other that we were not looking at within ourselves, um, and we were naive to think that cannabis was going to help us get past those things. I think it could have gotten past us, and it could have helped us get past those things if we used it in a healthy way. But we weren't using it in a healthy way. We were using it as, like I said, a crutch, as a band-aid, just to numb ourselves from the feelings that we were feeling in our everyday life of we're not doing enough. We don't have jobs. What are we doing? We have no answers, and so cannabis was the only answer we could find at the time. Um, but when you use cannabis, you know, later on down the line after that relationship ended and stuff, I still use cannabis and I use it to this day. But I was using it then, of course, abusing it still to just try to run away from my emotions and feelings, the same feelings and emotions I felt in the relationship, but now I was on my own, and so was still in that negative relationship with cannabis until one day I realized, you know, my emotional my emotional the way I was feeling emotionally and the way my mindset was during the day was I would go to work and just I was just trying to run from my feelings, run from my emotions. I hated my life. I hated many of the aspects of my life, and so cannabis was just the only thing that can kind of take away that pain for even if just for a little while, you know. And so I'd work all day, be in a bad headspace, and then I would use cannabis at night when I'd get off of work in that codependency way, just trying to numb myself. And it would work. Maybe I'd say maybe the first 20 minutes, 30 minutes, I'd be in a better feeling state. But that's when the anxiety would come on because I was feeling anxious in my everyday life. And again, it just amps up those feelings that you were already feeling and kind of puts a microscope over all the little things you're neglecting about yourself. And it's going to show them back to you. It's going to mirror those things back to you. And it did that to me. It would feel good for a little while, but then the anxieties would pop up and then it would be amplified because I was in an altered state. You know what I'm saying? Cannabis has its own wisdom. It's like every other plant medicine, ayahuasca, mushrooms, and all those things, where it holds this inherent wisdom, and it is a living thing. You know, it has a lot of spiritual wisdom that it can lend to the user if that user is open to that. But I wasn't using it for that. I was using it to run away from my problems. And so again, I was using it from a bad headspace and a bad mind space. My mindset going into it was just I just want to feel a little bit better because I'm not feeling good at all. Just help me feel better. And like I said, I'd feel better for 20 to 30 minutes, but then the anxieties would rise up and my emotions would would go back to how I was feeling before I smoked, except again, it was all amplified. And then that would make my thoughts race even more into negative scenarios. You know, it was just bad altogether until finally I realized, okay, you can't keep going on this path where you're abusing cannabis like this, especially if you're not going to look at the things in your life, look at the things inside of you within your own soul that you're neglecting to look at. You're neglecting to heal from. You're not on a healing journey. You're on a journey of codependency, victimhood, etc., etc. Until I realized, you know, I stopped using it as much as I was. You know, I'd maybe pull my usage back instead of using it every day. I'd use it every few days. Um, that didn't miraculously help my situation, but it was a step forward because I wasn't abusing it every single day of the week, every couple of hours. You know what I'm saying? I had a little space in between. But it wasn't until I actually looked at all the problems that I perceived, or at least what I perceived as problems in my life, and I decided to attack those head on and with the mindset of I don't want to feel and live this way anymore. You know what I mean? I don't want to be dependent on this drug. Or it's not a drug, but you know, people see it as a drug. I just didn't want to. I didn't want to rely on anything other than myself and who I am for my emotional states and my state of mind as a whole. And whenever I learned that, and then I started using it even less, I'd use it maybe to where I'm using it now, maybe once a week, if that, maybe once every 2 weeks. And I learned about the power of intention as well, you know. So if I'm not using it as a codependency mechanism, I'm using it with intention. Before I go to smoke it, before I go to inhale it, before I go to consume it in any way that I'm going to consume it, I try to have an intention of what I want from this experience. Let's say if I want to play guitar and I want to be more creative and write a song or something, and I have the intention of using this cannabis to help me open up my mind to states of being and ways of thinking that I could not otherwise come to without the use of this miraculous plant, without this miraculous plant medicine. And therefore, I would smoke and I would consume, and then my intention was towards that, and I'm in flow state. I'm playing guitar, and things are just coming to me. I'm not even having to think. The music is getting played through me, and I'm not even having to put forth much effort. It's just coming through me because I had that intention, right? And it goes with everything else. If you're using it to if you're using it to quiet your mind, if you're using it to get maybe some downloads from your higher self, from the universe, um, literally anything you're looking for, you put the intention in before you use the cannabis plant, and it will be like a guide. to help you with all these things, because it wants to help you on your spiritual path, just like all the other plant medicines of ayahuasca and mushrooms, like I've mentioned before. It wants to help you, and it wants to show you the greatness that you are. You know what I mean? It wants to show you that you're whole within. There's nothing wrong with you. You're already great. You're already perfect. It can be, and it shows that I can be a lending hand to help you towards what you want. But it has to be from the mindset that you already are okay within yourself. You already are perfect. There's nothing you need to fix. Because if you're looking for the plant to do all those things, you're looking for it to fix you. You're looking for it to mend your relationship. You're looking for it to make you happier. It's not going to do those things. You have to do that all on your own. And that's one thing you learn on the path of spirituality as it is. It's all an inside job. The universe is mental. It's all coming from inside of you. Until you fix that within yourself, your outside world, the cannabis that you use, whatever, it's going to reflect all that back to you until you are okay within your own self on your own, and you're not looking for outside stimulants to fix anything, because you don't need to be fixed. You are already perfect. There's nothing that needs to be fixed. There's things you can fine tune here and there, yes, and that's a personal journey. But until you do that, there's nothing outside that's going to help you. Only help that you're going to get is from yourself and the grace of God, which is always there, but you have to hear it. Again, like I've said many times in my other videos, you have to be quiet enough to hear it. Cannabis won't help you with that until you're already okay. Now, when you become okay with your own self and you've begun on this healing journey and you ask for insight from the cannabis and you ask with the intention of being more quiet so you can hear the messages from your higher self. You can hear the messages from the universe. If you go into it with that intent, it will deliver on that, because you're asking from a genuine place, and you're already not, you're not asking something of it that you don't already have, and you're not, you know what I'm saying? You're not coming at it from a state of lack. You're coming at it from a state of empowerment, and it can only further empower you from there. You know what I mean? And so I think the cannabis plant is a beautiful sidekick. It could be a beautiful sidekick to help you on this journey. And if you use it correctly, though, if you use it with respect, if you use it with intention, I think it can help you in many ways. And I think as a society, we're seeing that more and more, how cannabis can help you, and it can. Long gone are the days where it's just some kind of burnout, druggy. It's not that neat. It's not a drug. It's not not in a detrimental way. It's not a drug, and it's not for just burnouts, and it's not for hippies, and it's not for lazy people. You know what I'm saying? That's all a limited perspective, but I think as the further we move along on this path as a society, we're starting to see that more and more. And people who are maybe once on the fence about it are starting to use it and get all these great benefits that it has to offer to you. Only if you're not going to abuse it, though. If you're going to use it with respect and intention, like I said. But yeah, that's it for this video. There were times when I would use cannabis, and when I was quote unquote awoken. I'm not awake. I'm not enlightened. But when you awaken to the spiritual journey of who you really are, a lot of people on the spiritual path sometimes want to down talk you, or like look down upon you for using cannabis, even though you might have awoken to that spiritual nature of who you are. And I just want to say that in its own is a limited perspective. You know what I'm saying? Of course, you don't need it. You don't need it anymore. All the things you're looking for that you thought you needed cannabis for, you don't need it. You have that all within yourself. That's something you learn and you unearth through the spiritual journey. Sure, I believe that 100%. But for you to look down on someone else because they want to use cannabis, even though they're quote unquote awoken to the spiritual journey of who they really are, and then they're not these bodies, and they can see past the veil of Maya, so to say. Just because they can see past that doesn't mean that they cannot use cannabis in beneficial ways, even while they're on this path. I think the use of cannabis, if used correctly, like I've mentioned in this video multiple times, can propel you on that journey even further and even faster if you allow it to. So if someone's going to look down on you for using cannabis in a beneficial smart, respectful way, excuse me, can't speak, respectful way, those people don't need to be in your life, and you don't need to be listening to anything they say, because this is a personal journey. That might be what they perceive as right. That might be working for them, but that doesn't mean it's going to work for you. It doesn't mean that's right for you. And so you need to listen to your own intuition and your own judgment within your own self to know if this is right for you and if it's not, But don't listen to other people who are going to down talk you for using it, you know. That's them. Let them do their own thing and you do your own thing. But yeah, that's all for this video, guys. I hope you enjoy this video. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it very much. And until the next one, I will see you again. Peace.